Hello YouTubers and welcome to another episode. Today we've got a lovely, as you can see, 10 minutes on, 4 minutes off. We're going to do that 3 times. So instead of doing a half hour, a little bit of variation. We're going to fire in the same amount of work, but hopefully a little bit faster than I would for the half hour. So last week I did 41.6, so hopefully I can go a little bit faster than that. Plus there's a rate increase as well, so we'll be doing this at 24. So we'll see how fast I can go for these 10 minutes. And also, Mr. Joe Harper did this on Saturday, and so I have a little bit of a target. He did it in 38.1, so a target there. If I can just sneak in front of him, that's always good, just to have a little bit of a target to spur you on when you're in the pain cave. But later on in the episode, so many world records have been broken over the past sort of month or two, just with all the people in isolation, all the people just in their houses, in their homes, in their kitchens, in their yam caves, getting on bait and just seeing how much yam they can put down. And it's awesome to see just all the outrageous numbers coming out. But as always, just because one person is doing something outrageous on the rowing machine doesn't mean that your scores are any worse or any better. Your scores are your scores, and as long as you've given your full yam, they are awesome. Just like today, I'll hopefully be doing maybe 30, 38, 37, and the world record. So for example, the world record for a half hour was set yesterday or the day before, and that was at 33. So that's just absolutely insane. But we'll talk about the world records and different sort of the half hours. So I've been doing half hour rate caps. The half hours world records were obviously not rate capped because it's world record. And see if we can talk a little bit about those things as well. So first things first, we're going to hop on to this workout. We're going to just jump straight in and see how we get on. Oh yeah! And that's the first one done. Peaked at about 172, 171 heart rate. Feeling it in the legs from yesterday's run, right in here, and right in the hip flexors as well. But we're going to keep pushing on. We're going to keep on going and see how we can get on. Using this one that I just did as a baseline. Might have to slow down, might have to speed up, we'll see. Using the recovery to recover. Big deep breaths. Letting the body get some of that sweet, sweet oxygen in. And then we go again for another 10 minutes. And second one finished, slower than the first one. Really in the pain cave right now, legs are not feeling very fresh at all. But one more left, see if we can, so 38.7 on that one, see if we can go a little bit faster than that on the next one. So let's get to it. And Finished off the third set, 37.2, faster than the first set, and then which makes me think a little bit of some not confidence in the middle set, since I was able to step on split and a half into the third, but did feel a lot fresher kind of going into that third one for some reason. Interesting. Heart rate peaked at 193, average including rest 160, so definitely slightly above UT2, slightly above steady state. But it's workouts like these, like I said, you can see numbers like that total number 9194, that would be faster than my PB. So you're seeing numbers, even though the rate is higher and you're doing less time at that pace, you can see pace that's faster than your PB, and you makes you sort of think, okay, well, did it for 10 minutes, can I do it for 12? Maybe if I back off a little bit, can I do it for 20? And then you ended up pushing that little bit harder and getting a PB. But now, I'm going to catch my breath, going to grab some food, because remember, food is fuel, and then world records, rate cap pieces, free rate pieces, have a little bit of a chat. Whew. And we've finished fueling up. Is it a bit dark in here? We've finished fueling up. Had a little bit of recovery post 3 10 minutes, and pretty happy with the result there. Not as easy as I thought it would be, but I thought I would have a more consistent step on through each piece rather than a bit of a fade and then finish off. So it would suggest that just a little bit of lacking the confidence, like I said, in that middle one, but good to be finishing off the workout and good to like tick that box of good workout there. But now on to sort of the world record. So the half-hour world record that is previously set by Ollie Ziegler was set again by himself, and he managed to do an absolutely outrageous split of 133.9 for 30 minutes, and that is 9,577 meters. Absolutely insane for doing just if 33.9 for anything is hard, and to do it for half an hour, this man is insane. I'm really excited to see what the Concept 2 Spring Series 8 series does, because like I said, I think the 2K is later on, and maybe it's next week or maybe in 2 weeks. I think it's next week, and it would be really interesting if he goes flat stick for that 2K, what's going to happen, because the world record is 5:35. I'm pretty sure that him and a couple of other athletes like Simone van Dorp is very close to doing 5:35 on the rowing machine. But Ollie Ziegler is the one doing sort of all these workouts just now. And of course Hamish Bond as well, throwing out some just outrageous numbers. And also just want to make sure that these numbers are done by professional athletes. These numbers, like even sort of numbers I push out there, aren't at the level of what these guys are doing yet. But just because you see these numbers, so I say, oh, I do 150 for my hour, or I do whatever it is for my hour, or always either 133.9 for half an hour, doesn't mean that the scores that you've done previously or the work that you're doing is worse, because like I said earlier, if you're giving it your all and you have your targets, your goals, it doesn't matter what anyone else is doing. And I think I'm going to be making a post today about sort of, especially that workout, I think it was last Friday, where I ended up doing, ended up about 36 or so, 40 minutes, above 2 minutes on my steady state. And that's why I do these vlogs, or one of the reasons is to show you guys ups and downs. And with Ollie's either doing 133.9 on his half hour, that doesn't mean he has an off day at another time. His off day might be a little bit quicker than your off day, but that doesn't mean that these guys, myself included, are invincible. Now I've went a little bit of a tangent there, talking about sort of the rate capped and free rate pieces. So a lot of the half hours and all of the tests are done in the Spring 8 series are all free rate. Obviously it's a test, it's going flat out. And I was really interested when Hamish Bond posted his half hour, which I was thinking was about 135 for half an hour at rate 29, rate 30, and he just said, I wanted to break 400 watts, and I think he ended up at 405 watts. And
I'm curious to know what you guys think, what the difference is. So I've been doing half hour at rate 20, and today was at rate 24 for the 10 minutes, but previous to that, half hour rate 20. My PB is 1:39.6, I think, for a rate 20 half an hour. So it's interesting to think, okay, if on that day that I did my PB, if I did free rate, what would I be able to do? Obviously, a rate 20 half hour versus a free rate 30 plus half hour is a very different sort of type of work. It's a very different workout, but assuming that's not a thing, I wonder how much faster the split would be if it was free rate versus rate capped at rate 20. Because for me, it's interesting. It's like, okay, if I can do, I did 41.6 last week. If I added 10 beats, would I be able to do, like today, would I be able to do 37? Would I be able to do 39? Would I be able to do 38? And I'm just curious. Obviously, there's a massive difference between the rate cap pieces and the free rate pieces, but you see, for me, like if I'm posting my rate cap pieces, you can see my splits. Someone else doing the same workout but free rate, they're doing their splits, but you never really see the same athletes from different countries doing the same workouts. It's almost as if there's a little bit of communication going on about, okay, well, they're doing half an hour at rate 20, we're going to be doing half an hour at rate 30, and you can never really compare the two. But it would be interesting to compare the two, actually, just to see, just for curiosity's sake. So let me know in the comments below. We'll use a half hour for example. So I wonder what Ollie Ziedler could do if he rate capped himself at a 20 for half an hour. Would he be able to do under 35? Would it be a couple of splits? Would it be a few splits? I'm not really sure, because I've seen guys do rate 20, 30 minutes at 1:36. So would they be able to do faster than 1:39 free rate half hour? Very interesting. And obviously these workouts that were being seen that are coming out now because of the isolation is just down to the fact that a lot of us are stuck indoors and on the erg and off of programs that we generally do year in, year out, and we're on sort of more varied programs to give ourselves a little bit of motivation. And that's why, like Ollie Ziedler is doing, I think every week he's done, if it was a 4-minute 5k half hour this week and I think a 2k next week. And that wouldn't happen normally because that's just a lot of high intensity work. But now looking for a bit of motivation, looking for a bit of fun, we're able to do that in isolation. So it's really interesting times that we're in that it's given people the opportunity to do that and see some of these just amazing athletes pull out some amazing scores. But going back again, but just because you see those guys do really just amazing scores doesn't mean that makes your score any worse. And it comes to me as well. I see Ollie Ziedler do 1:33.9 for half hour. That's faster than me by probably quite a big margin. Like today I did the 3:10s at 24, so at 37 and a bit. So I would think if I was to do it at 30, I would be down maybe 36, 35, which is behind him. So it's always interesting to see. But again, your score is your score. The Yam Squad score is the Yam Squad score. And everyone, I think, just sometimes can have a little bit of time just to work on themselves rather than sometimes it can be a case of letting other people's scores sometimes get you down a little bit. But other times it can be used for motivation. But that will be it for today's episode, Yam Squad. Before I meander elsewhere and blether about something else. And as always, remember to subscribe if you haven't already, hit that like button, and I will see you tomorrow for the second day of this week. Oh yeah!